Hi, this is Ozzy, and welcome to a new episode of Online Seller Circles, the VA Spotlight, where we will chat with virtual assistants and get behind the scenes on what it's like to work as a VA. Our guest for tonight is Micole, who is a 25-year-old graduate of BS Entrepreneurship from one of the best schools here in the Philippines. She currently helps entrepreneurs in the e-commerce industry grow their businesses, and she has been working as a superstar VA since 2020 during the time when the pandemic hit. Why did she pursue the VA career path, and how does she help e-commerce business owners grow their businesses? Let's find out and get to know her more. Let's welcome to the show, Micole. Hi, Micole. How are you?
Hi, Ozzy. It's nice to finally meet you. I'm
Yeah.
good.
We've been chatting for how many days? Finally, we've gotten. So,
Finally.
how are you? How's life?
Yeah, everything's good. Yeah, that's it.
So, how have you been working as a virtual assistant overall? I
Us.
mean, how many years?
Okay, so I started working as a virtual assistant mid 2020 at the height of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I didn't look back since then.
I'm curious because you're a graduate of a 4-year course from a really, really good school. What was it that attracted you to become a VA, to become a virtual assistant?
I think it's one of the factors that like really led me to do this is that I get to help fellow entrepreneurs. So me being an aspiring entrepreneur, I get to learn so much from them, which has been very helpful for my growth. So yeah, that's that.
Okay, that's great. Actually, it's kind of unique your reason in becoming a virtual assistant because there are a lot of people who like personally I pursued this career because I wanted to stay at home, work at home at the comfort of my own space because I have a daughter and it's such a huge advantage that I'm working at home and at the same time I get to look after her. But then in your case, what attracted you to become a VA is the amount of experience and knowledge
Right.
that you're gaining from it, and because it
Yes.
will also help you to become an entrepreneur. Is that right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, of course, I also get those kinds of perks, like being able to work at the comfort of my own home, which has been very great as well. Yeah, but
Mhm.
the experience is like the more important part for me.
And also you mentioned that you applied as a VA or you started this career at the height of the pandemic, right?
Yes, and I think I honestly I was just scared and paranoid to go outside like most of us were. And I've heard a lot of similar stories as well. A lot of similar stories as mine. So, yeah. I feel like I'm not alone.
I also became a VA just before the lockdown. So I think I got hired
Right.
February of 2020. So it was such a huge relief when I was already employed as a VA and I didn't have to go out. And,
Yeah,
'cause during those times, it was really scary when we didn't have the vaccinations yet.
exactly.
It was kind of scary to go out and work at site. And not to mention that there were businesses that, closed down, which in
Yes.
turn, a lot of employees got laid off from
Right.
their jobs, right? So it's such, I don't know, it's such a huge advantage that you were able to pursue this career at the height of the
Yes.
pandemic.
Yes,
And
exactly.
right, and knowing that there is this career path in becoming a virtual assistant was a huge discovery, don't you think so?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Actually, after hearing your story, I guess you could say that you were one of the very lucky few who were able to, recover easily from the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was also one of the affected people who were hit by the pandemic because one of the company that I was working for was also on indefinite leave. So I didn't know what to do after that. So, and of course,
Right.
I had to do something about it to be able to sustain my needs. So that's
Right.
how I learned about the VA roles. And I didn't even know it was a thing back then. So,
You
yeah.
know, I also had the same thought because when I was referred by my friend, actually, I got to know the position, I think it was around November of 2019. And then I resigned from my previous job around that time. And I started, I started applying for the job, I think November or latter part of November to early part of December. And then it was only February that I got hired. But initially before that, I really didn't know that there was this industry, the virtual assistant industry,
Right.
wherein you have different roles. Because all along I thought that if you apply as a VA, you work as a VA, you work as a personal assistant to someone based offshore. Like you work as an admin VA. But then I didn't realize that there were multiple roles. Like there are property VAs, you have product
Right.
sourcers, you have Amazon
Yeah.
VAs, you have media marketing managers. So
Yes.
you're right. I was quite, one of those lucky people who got employed before the lockdowns. And
Right.
honestly, when I don't know if you've experienced this, but personally, when the lockdowns happened and a lot of people got affected, I didn't realize how much of an impact the lockdowns, affected a lot of people because
Right.
earning. I mean, I didn't know that there were a lot of people who were really struggling. Did you have that kind of impression as well, wherein when you when you got employed as a VA a few months in, you realize that hey, a lot of people are really struggling right now, and I'm so lucky
Yes.
that I have a job. Did you
Yes,
feel
I
that?
did.
Yeah.
I did. It was such a relief. I think it's something that I didn't realize before I got employed.
Yeah.
But as when I got employed as a VA, I just started to think how much of a relief it was, and I just kept thinking about all those people who were affected, who didn't
Right.
even know, like who didn't even know that virtual jobs like this exist.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
um, when I watch the news during those times, I can see that there are a lot of people struggling. I can see that there are a lot of people who got laid off from their jobs, but I didn't realize how much of an impact it was. Not until there were people that I personally know who, tell me stories about. Like I had a friend who was a manager before the lockdowns, and then she had to resort to delivery service because it's her way of um making ends meet. So I didn't
Right,
realize
exactly.
it was that big. And you're right, we were lucky that we were employed in this career, in this ecosystem at the height of the pandemic, because at the end of the day it's about survival of the
Yes,
fittest, honestly.
exactly. Yeah, you just have to make ends meet, or you have to really, yeah, you have to think of ways to make a living. Yeah.
Right. I definitely agree. That's why when people I personally know tell me stories about how they survived, it hit me like a truck that there are really people who, who are greatly affected. People who are working in high class jobs who were really affected. They got laid off. They were put on indefinite leave. And I guess it's somehow about checking your privileges. Is that how you call it?
Yes, exactly.
Because
Yes.
at the end of it, you realize that you're privileged, you're lucky, we were lucky that during those times we were employed and that we were earning, we were surviving. Now,
Yes.
you've mentioned earlier that you started at the height of the pandemic, but how did you become a virtual assistant per se? What were the steps that you take? I mean, was it through a referral? Did you visit Facebook groups?
Initially, I was just really referred by a friend. It wasn't in the same industry as I am in now, which is the e-commerce industry.
Yep. Yep.
Before, I was hired as a social media manager, VA. And then after that, I happened to stumble upon this VA recruitment agency who was hiring product researcher for an e-commerce store. And I didn't look back since then.
That's great.
Yeah, the rest
But
is history.
but your first role wasn't product sourcing, right?
Yes, it wasn't.
What
It
was the
was
first
a.
role you applied for?
I'm sorry.
What was the first role, VA role that you
Ah,
for?
I used to work as a social media manager. So basically, I would handle clients' social media handles such as Instagram. I think that was my main. That was my main assignment. I would create captions for them, and I would also do hashtag research. So that's what I was doing basically.
But if I'm going to ask you, since you've worked as a social media manager before, and now you're working as a product sourcer, product researcher, which of the two roles did you or do you enjoy doing most?
I think I would have to be biased. It's going to be the product
Of
researcher
course.
role. Maybe mainly because that's what I've been working. That has been my work for more than a year now. With I guess with being a social media manager, I only lasted there for I guess a few months. A few months.
Oh,
Yeah. It was only for a few months before I transition to an e-commerce industry. So yeah, I would have to say product research.
but was it kind of a difficult transition from social? Because these two roles are, for those who are watching,
Exactly.
these two roles are totally different. Because as a
Right.
social media manager, personally, I know what you do. You create contents,
Yes.
you do SEO, and then you also
Mm-hmm.
do like research and stuff. And then for product sourcing, it's more of finding products to purchase, and then so that you could sell, your client could sell it at a profit. So what was the transition like? Was it difficult? Was it challenging?
I think luckily, I didn't really find it that challenging because I had a great support system during that transition. So there was also this extensive trainings that I had to undergo, so that I'd be able to take on the role as smoothly as possible. So yeah, luckily I had that kind of support at the time.
That's great. Did your client support you? I mean, did this client understand that you came from a social media background and now you're doing
Yes.
product?
I For me, I guess I was very fortunate enough that the client that I have was very understanding at the time of my transition because at the time I had zero knowledge about product sourcing, but of course with the training um because of the extensive training, I was able to have at least a few backgrounds. And then when I met with my client, she was very understanding enough for me to get
Did
a
you
few deals. Yeah, she was very understanding. Like she didn't really rush me into like getting the exact number of deals a day. So yeah, that.
great thing, when you really have the proper foundation, like the learning foundation, the theoretical part, when you really have that, the proper ones, it's really helpful when you get to the actual job, because it will really go back to you like memory. I would simply call it or compare it as muscle memory, wherein everything that you've learned, everything that you've trained for, as soon as you get the job, you'll be able to apply it. And it's also a plus, and it's also a bonus that your client is, not a strict client wherein she expects you to deliver the deals that she needs right away. It's a great thing
Yeah.
that you have that kind of support system. It's actually a huge
Yes.
thing to have a manager or a client who supports you all the way, and that she has given you ample time to adjust and to learn.
Yes.
But if
Exactly.
for personally, how many months did you think, or how many weeks did you think was the learning curve that you have taken?
I guess I would have to say um at least 3 months. So yeah, I guess you could say that was enough or ample time for me to adjust. Yes.
That's normal. I think 3 months is normal, because
Yes.
if I remember correctly, an employee undergoes what do you call this, transition in a
Mm-hmm.
month, 3 months. I think that's okay, that's acceptable. And it's really great that your client is supportive of you, and she's supportive of the way you learn, the way you have adjusted to this role from being a social media manager before. That's great. Now, before becoming a VA, before you applied as a VA during the height of the pandemic, what did you do basically?
So I used to work in the healthcare industry, but to be clear, I wasn't a healthcare worker. But of course, the risk was still there. You
Yep.
could say it's a little far from the industry I'm in right now, but not
Yep.
really quite because I was in the administrative side working as a purchasing officer. So you can see there's still a connection there.
Yep. And it's a good thing that you mentioned that despite working in the healthcare industry, not really the healthcare industry wherein you're in the hospital, but
Yes.
that risk. The risk that you're talking about, do you mean to say that you have to go out of your house to travel to go to, to your work? Is that the risk
Yes,
that you were talking about?
that's one. And also of course as I was saying before the because before the pandemic there was already like news circulating about what could happen during the pandemic. So yeah, I think that's the risk that I mentioned earlier. Of course, even if I'm not in the scene, I'm not a healthcare worker, of course I still get to interact with
Yep.
these work with the healthcare workers. So yeah,
Yes.
there's interaction there. So yeah, I guess
The
that's the
mere
risk
fact
that.
that the mere fact that you're interacting with, different people on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
every hour, every minute of the day,
Yes.
it's that alone is already a risk for
Yes,
you.
let alone in the in a healthcare establishment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if these people are sick and they go to your establishment and they purchase something, at the end of the day you're still interacting with them. No matter how
Yes.
careful you are, there's still that risk. And during that time, again, it was really scary. I mean, you
Exactly.
hear the news about people passing away, these numbers, these statistics that the news outlets release. It's kind of, it really agitates you, and it's kind of scary, honestly. I
Yes.
also underwent that kind of, I cannot call it anxiety, but the fear of going out and interacting with people, even delivery service people. Whenever
Mm-hmm.
we order, during those times, whenever we ordered something, we do it cashless, and we just ask the driver to leave it by our gate, by our doorstep, and then we'll just pick it
Mm-hmm.
up there, spray alcohol and all. And
Yeah.
it's right, it's the risk. You really cannot be too careful
Yes,
during.
I can really relate to that. Yeah. Even at first we wouldn't even like do deliveries. That's how paranoid we were, my family and I were. Yeah, and
Yep.
then eventually, yeah, we would just like, sanitize everything that came from outside. Yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah, I know, I understand what you were saying a while ago.
It's really scary, I mean, gosh, just the fact that you heard in the news that the virus, it's not airborne. I mean, they said that it wasn't airborne. It's more of the virus gets left behind on
Mm-hmm.
surfaces, on hands. When you touch someone who has it, you'll also get the
Yeah.
virus. So it's really scary to interact with people outside of your household. So the best that you really
Mm-hmm.
can do is just to be careful and stay inside, stay indoors. But the vaccination is a really huge thing. I mean, it
Yes.
was really, really helpful. Now, on your current role, Micole,
Mm-hmm.
what's the best thing, or what's the task that you love doing the most?
I think one of the things that I love most about doing product research is that I get to for me it's like online window shopping. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's very entertaining for me. So I get to like discover innovative products and then at the same time get to source them for my clients to sell. So that's one of the things that I enjoy most being a product researcher.
I love that you compared it to online shopping, because I think it's really like online shopping, right? But it's not,
Yeah.
I mean, online shopping, but not really shopping for yourself, something that you could
Yeah.
use, online shopping for business. And I love that the thing that you mentioned, wherein you get to discover new things, new products
Yes.
that you didn't even know that it existed.
Yeah.
Just recently, I think I discovered that there's a product wherein you can carbonate a water or a juice, and you don't have
Oh,
you don't have to
really?
purchase soft drink soda outside, because you can do it at home. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
discovery just recently. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what was the most interesting product that you've seen so far since you've mentioned that?
Um, Actually, what I would do, if I see something like entertaining for me, of course, since this is an international online platform
Yeah.
for what I would do is if I see something entertaining, I would go to our local online shop, and then that's where I will search it. So if I see something interesting, I'll see if it can be bought here in the Philippines. So I guess one of the I think what I'm really into these days is the kitchen tools, innovative
Wow.
kitchen tools. So
Mhm.
yeah, anything that would help a lot with you doing kitchen chores. Yeah,
Do you
I
love
really find those. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, things that would really save up time for you when preparing food. Yeah, that's been entertaining for me.
I don't know. I guess in our age, I saw a post on Facebook recently wherein it asks what makes you happy. And I would say that what makes me happy right now is to drop by household appliances or household stuff.
Exactly.
It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yesterday we went to Landmark and
Mm-hmm.
I bought tongs for cooking and I got really happy because when we moved here in our place 4 months ago, we didn't have tongs. So it was kind of a challenge to deep fry fried chicken. So when we bought the tongs yesterday, I was really happy because I don't know, it's an achievement for me to have a kitchen condiment or a utensil that could
Yeah.
help make it easier.
I do get you because just like you, I also transitioned to living independently. Although this is a temporary thing, but I
Yep.
started living independently just a few
Right.
months ago. So I do understand like not having any kitchen tools, and then getting to buy all these stuff has been really satisfying for me.
It
Yeah,
is.
I do get
It's really
what
satisfying.
you mean.
I don't know. I guess this is what they call adulting, wherein,
Yes.
I mean, petty stuff, petty things do not interest you anymore. It doesn't
Right.
entertain. Or what entertains us is, buying kitchen tools, buying a new
Yes.
couch, buying a new mattress,
Yes. Anything
groceries.
for practicality. Yeah,
Yeah,
that too. Yeah.
I know that you also cook, and I didn't know that you were also independent. And congratulations to you for
Thank
taking,
you.
you know, at the end of the day, you'll be able to invest in things that, you'll be able to use in the future, regardless if you're single or if once you get a partner, it will be really, really helpful for you. That's great. That's
Yes.
fantastic,
Thank
honestly.
you.
Now, apart from that, since you've mentioned that that's your favorite part in a
Mm-hmm.
being sorcerer, the window shopping part, what do
Mm-hmm.
you think the most challenging? I don't want to say what do you hate most because I
Mm-hmm.
don't nice, but what do
Right.
you find challenging? What do you find most wherein when you do this task, you sometimes get to think that this is really challenging and this is kind of
Mm-hmm.
it's me out a little. So what task do you find kind of challenging?
Yeah. Actually, it's also the product sourcing bit. It's not always like rainbows and butterflies doing that product sourcing. There are really you get really sometimes you just get those kinds of days. The like I would say not fruitful days for me, but you just have to like really persevere in doing that. And I guess one of the most challenging parts as well of being a VA is is the opposite of being virtual. Like not being physically there with your teammates. How we communicate online versus physically is really different. So, but and of course, body language is one as well, as it's huge part of communication. And with us not being physically present, we don't really get to see that on a daily basis. So, I think in this industry, it's really important to build um, a good professional business relationship in order in order to establish trust as well. So
Right.
there's also these small interactions among workmates that I miss. So for me, one of the musts of being a VA is to get to know and befriend my fellow VAs who I know will have my back, and I theirs. It's important that you have a good support system in this workplace.
Yep.
So,
And
because at the end of the day, they are the ones who will really get you or understand you. So, be it
right.
online or face to face.
Right. You're right. I love, what you mentioned when you mentioned that part of a challenge of being a virtual assistant is that the challenge of, not being there physically. I mean, not being
Yes.
there as a team physically, but instead being there virtually, so to speak, being there virtually. And
Yeah.
the communication part, it's kind of a challenge, like what you've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause at the end of the day, everything, like especially if you're just talking through a messaging app or through email, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not every day that you get to do Zoom meetings, right? Because
Yes.
you have your tasks, your client
Mm-hmm.
have theirs, and then your teammates have their tasks as well. So most of the time, you only work on your own, and whenever
Yes.
you reach out with someone, it's through messaging and through email or through email. And the challenge there is that it's everything is in black and white, so
Mm-hmm.
misinterpreted is,
Yes.
can be, your message can be easily misinterpreted, like
Mm-hmm.
if you meant this way, but then you won't be guaranteed that the person that you're talking to would be able to understand or get it how you're supposed to relay that information or that
Mm-hmm.
message. Also, you've mentioned that I also love the fact that you mentioned wherein the physical connection that you build is not there because again you're virtually connected with a teammate. And you also
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that it's really difficult to basically, because there are days that you're not your bad days, you have your bad days, and at the end of the day you
Yes.
have your teammates to, if you're in a physical work setup, you just have to drop by their pod, their station, you can just chat it
Mm-hmm.
out and you'll be good. But in this kind of setup, it's kind of a challenge to reach out to them, I would say, because at the end of the day they have their task, they're doing their task, they're doing their stuff, and you have also to respect that space. So it's really, it's a matter of building a connection with your client. Since you're on a
Yes.
virtual setup, trust is really a huge thing. And I've heard uh, sad stories of clients who got disappointed with their VAs, Filipino VAs for that matter,
Oh.
wherein they put their 100% trust with this person, and then only to find out that this person did something awful, broken their trust. Sometimes it's a challenge because it also affects us, other Filipino VAs, because they get that, some of these clients get that connotation wherein a Filipino VA
Yes.
will do something awful to their clients, which
Yeah.
is not fair, right? Different folks, different strokes. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
sad, honestly, that there are these kinds of people wherein they do these things with clients. So I really agree that trust is a huge thing, and building a connection and a professional relationship with your client is a must, especially in this kind of setup, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay, but on your current role, or even as
Mm-hmm.
a virtual assistant in general, what's the most rewarding aspect of working virtually?
So as a product sourcer VA, it always feels fulfilling to be able to find winning deals for my client, let alone them purchasing these items for them to sell. Um, Clients buying these deals at larger quantities is also a different thing. Is another thing, but either way, that means the business is growing, and the fact that I am taking part in it is very rewarding.
Right.
And I guess as a VA as a whole, what I love most being a VA is that it saves so much time, and that I can literally work anywhere, and that I get to literally work from anywhere. I've had
Virtual.
lots of, yeah, virtually, and I've had lots of family trips that I was able to go to, and I didn't even have to miss work. But of
Yeah.
course, those were with the approval of my supervisor first, of how my work situation's gonna be like for that period. Because usually trips like that meant that I had to skip work or I had to leave for work. But with this
Right.
setup, it's very convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree. It's really rewarding. I don't think it's a bonus, but it's more of really the reward of working. An advantage, and the advantage of working as a virtual assistant is
Mm-hmm.
that you get to work virtually anywhere, so long as you have an internet
Yes.
connection. And the
Yes.
fact that you've mentioned that you get to join your family trips without
Mm-hmm.
going on leave, vacation leave, so long as you have your laptop with you, so long as you have an internet
Right.
connection, then you'll be able to work. That's really a huge
Yes.
advantage. And I think um it's an advantage that we VAs should take advantage smartly and
Yes.
wisely.
Exactly.
When we tell our clients that I'll be working despite being on our family trip, then you should really work on. Have you tried that? I mean, have you
Yes.
gone to the beach and work?
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, it's very relaxing. Yeah,
I
but
haven't.
I had to be alone because you know it was a beautiful, like, it was really a change of scenery for me. It was very relaxing, but I didn't want anyone to be getting in the way of my work. So I was just doing work alone in front of the beach. Yeah, which is
Mhm.
very relaxing.
I think that's one of my bucket list, is to by the beach, by the shore, and be on a Zoom meeting with my,
You
so that
should
they
try that sometime.
would see that I have this scenery in my background.
Yeah.
I guess the most that I've tried is working in a coffee shop, like different coffee shops. Like
I do that as well.
it's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
you should try that.
yeah, I will. I will definitely kind of, I don't know, it's kind of rewarding again that we get
Mhm.
to work in coffee shops because we have different offices.
Exactly.
We have different offices depending,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, especially if you want a change of scenery.
Now, I know for a fact that you're part of the Global VA Solutions virtual assistant pool, right? So basically, you're part of the pool of VAs currently.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think I've mentioned this with my previous interviews, but I wasn't hired through GVAS, so I don't know. I'm not sure what the process is like. So talk me through to the process. How was it?
Okay, so basically the hiring process was pretty straightforward and self-paced. There wasn't really much talking involved throughout the process. So firstly, they will test your ability to take on the job that you're applying for with their assessment phase. And if you have successfully passed that, um, there were a series of questions that they sent for me to answer through a video recording. So I guess that's what I meant by this style not being conversational, because it was through a video recording. And then after successfully passing the interview, that's when the 7-day training will commence. So it was a 7-day training, so you can really tell that the process is really that the training is really extensive and very insightful. So yeah.
That's great to know because again, I wasn't aware of what the process is like. So hearing this coming from you, it gives me a sense of assurance that the
Mm-hmm.
train is laying the theoretical part of it is really
Mm-hmm.
laying the foundations for you so that once you get hired and once you get deployed to a client, you'll really be able to apply everything that you've learned,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right, right.
Within the hiring process that you've underwent with GVAS, what was your favorite part of the experience?
I think it's that the fact that I have gained new friends and connections in the industry. Actually, not just friends, but I also found support in them throughout the entire process as well. So the people that I have interacted throughout this process have been very friendly and understanding. So they really helped me go through this process smoothly. Having said that, I'm really hoping to meet more people from GVAS in the days to come.
That's great. That's great to know. Honestly, in this kind of line of work within the virtual assistant ecosystem, it's a huge thing that you have people, you meet people, new people to expand your network because at the end of the day, these
Yes,
are
exactly.
who will help you throughout your journey. Like they can refer
Mm-hmm.
you to clients, they can vouch for you if you apply
Mm-hmm.
for a job, they can vouch for you. You can put them as a your personal character reference. You can
Right.
also ask them for some wisdom if you get lost with some of your tasks
Mm-hmm.
or goal. You could also ask their assistance, and it's a great thing. It's a huge thing. What does a VA day looks like with Micole?
Okay. So being a VA saves a lot of energy and time, like a lot. So I'm currently living independently. So I guess I'm fortunate enough to have all this time for myself. And I think before I share how my day goes, it's worth noting that I'm nocturnal. So yeah, I would stay up as late as I could the night before, doing
Right.
basically anything. So the next day I would just get up and prep for my needs for the day, then straight to work and then repeat. So sometimes if I, as what I mentioned earlier, if I need a change of scenery, I would look for like local coffee shops or restaurants with great ambience, so where I could temporarily work. Then um, I would still have time left for me to do
House chores.
anything like
Yep.
yeah, house chores, relaxing, and binge watching. So yeah, that. And then
Are
on
there
rest days,
any,
I'm sorry.
are there any series that you're watching right now? You've mentioned binge watching. Are there any series
Yeah.
that right now?
Right now I'm really into short comedy series like Schitt's Creek. I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's a good
I have
watch.
yet.
Uh yeah, I love that's what I've been watching. And then on rest days I would either spend my time with my family or friends. Sometimes I'm also better off alone in silence. So either way I can do both.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you are from how I see it, you are an introvert with extrovert tendencies.
Yes,
But you
exactly.
prefer to be I think I also have that kind of tendency wherein
Mhm.
I find solace in being alone. I find happiness in being alone, and the
Exactly.
stillness, the quietness
Yeah.
of your surroundings, right? And you just
Yes.
think you get to I don't know, watch movies, watch series, do
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to. And since you've been living alone and independently, that's really huge. That's a huge thing because
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want. No one's going to control your
Yes.
life, right? I don't
Yeah,
know
exactly.
like that.
Yeah, actually
Okay.
I took the test. It's actually one of Jivas's requirements, the personality test.
Yep.
So I did get the INFP. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it
Yeah.
with the traits of INFPs.
Yep.
They're basically ambiverts. So yeah.
Oh. I think I am INFJ, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I
Mm.
have, but I also took that test, and I am more of, I forgot, but I think I'm more of a collaborator or something like that.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna visit the result that I had, but I also took that
Yeah.
test.
I think I stands for introvert if I'm not sure, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's where we lean towards more to that side.
But lastly, I guess my last question for you today is that there are people who'll be watching this chat, this conversation that we have, and who are wanting to become virtual assistant, like like us. What's
Mhm.
one piece of advice that you'd give them?
I think I say do it. I think this is one of the best options if you're looking for a career change. I guess in a world where technology is very fast paced,
Right,
we need to find a way to adapt. We have to
right.
keep up with the changing times, especially now that everyone, or at least most industries, is going digital. So yeah, this career is something to think about, worth considering.
And wouldn't you agree that this industry in particular is also a thriving industry? It's no longer just
It
about
is.
working part-time. It's no longer about just making ends meet. It's already becoming, or it has become an industry wherein it really thrives and that you could really build a career path out of it, right? Don't you
Yes.
agree?
Yes, I do. I do agree on that. And I guess it's more of being able to balance work your work and life as a whole, because it really saves up a lot of time and energy. Like I guess not having to do hours of traveling back and forth to your workplace has been really a blessing for me. So yeah, they could it's something worth considering. Having said that, I would still have time and energy left for me to do some leisure during work days,
Right.
because I do remember, yeah, I did get to do that before, because by the time that I would get home, I'd
Tired.
usually be tired to do anything else other than
Actually,
just rest.
tired is an understatement. I would say you were already exhausted
Yes,
from
yes.
from the travel, from the work that you've done.
Right.
And also from the client's perspective, it's really cost efficient and economical
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have to rent an office space.
Mm.
They don't have to basically, pay for electricity, for internet connection, for the utilities of the office space apart from the rent of the office space. So it's also
Right.
cost for them. It's a win-win situation
Yes.
and I agree with what you've said.
Exactly.
Most businesses are now turning digital so long as that
Mm.
that business is able and that there are no repercussions in turning digital. Most businesses are really turning to the virtual work setup nowadays.
Yes. Having said that as well, of course, since the on the client's perspective, really have to maximize their resources. So in
Right.
turn, you also have to be a good resource to them. So
Right.
yeah,
I
it's about
definitely.
really being persevered with work.
Right. That's great. I totally agree, Nicole. If you're an e-commerce business owner and you're looking to hire your first or an additional superstar VA to your business, then look no further. Book your consultation call with Global VA Solutions, and we also offer that call for free to all e-commerce business owners who want to take their business to the next level. And if you are an aspiring virtual assistant, then I'll leave the link below wherein you can check out our career opportunities at the moment. Micole is a graduate of a 4-year course from a very prestigious school, but she pursued the VA industry, the VA career at the height of the pandemic because she wanted to have something to earn for. But then she realized that there is really a career that can be made out of this. Thank you so much for gracing our show, Micole.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, same here. I really enjoyed our chat.
Mhm.
If you like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe, comment your questions down below, and like it. That's it for today, and see you on the next episode of the VA Spotlight. Bye!